Now back to the crossover with Marlon Jones and Armon Williams.
All right, welcome back to the crossover. Marlon and Armon, KDUS 1060. Subscribe and follow us on our social media accounts on both our YouTube and Facebook pages and channels at the crossover 1060. Once again, that's at the crossover 1060. Once again, if you're on YouTube, go to youtube.com/at the crossover 1060. Facebook.com/at the crossover 1060. And you can call into our listener line at 602-260-1060. Once again, at 602-260-1060. All right, this segment is brought to you by OTG Sports Grill. Biketoberfest is here. Marlon and I are taking in live bands, pageantry, wonderful food, spilled drinks, games, vendors, and so much more. So why aren't you here? So come and check it out before it's too late. It's just this weekend, folks. Don't miss out. OTG Sports Grill at 801 South Power Road, just north of Southern Avenue on Power Road, Mesa. All right, so this weekend we got the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals, and both teams are 1-3 going into this. But actually, Marlon, I think it's kind of a tale of two teams because I think the Arizona Cardinals, most people expected the Arizona Cardinals to be struggling at this point. I don't think that many people really expected the Cincinnati Bengals to be struggling at this point, and they're really struggling.
Yeah, I think with obviously, we've been covering the Cardinals, from the start, and they've got the injuries. But to their credit, they've been playing hard. Joshua Dobbs has been playing hard. Connor, I mean, they play hard.
Yeah.
With what they have. On the flip side, the Bengals are crazy talented.
Talented.
They got a great young quarterback.
Right.
They got one of the best receivers in the game, and they're just, I don't know what's going on.
Injuries too.
Yeah, they got injuries, but Burrow looks pedestrian this year.
He's battling a calf injury. And but you look at the two teams, their offense, the Cincinnati Bengals offense has been absolutely abysmal. Their defenses right now, they're like one of the bottom defenses, especially in stopping the run. Right now, they're the second worst defense in the league when it comes to rush defense. The only team that's worse than them right now is the Denver Broncos. That's pretty bad. That's bad company to hold. When you're talking about rush defense, and whereas the Arizona Cardinals have one of the better rush offenses in the league right now. You got you got James Conner from the acquisition that they got a couple seasons ago from Pittsburgh. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry, 5.1 yards a carry, and Joshua Dobbs, the quarterback, surprisingly, he's up there. He's the second leading rusher on the Cardinals team, and he's filling in nicely in replacement for Kyler Murray. Averaging a little over 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, I know Connor's been balling because he's my flex back in my fantasy, and I'm not going to take him out of my lineup.
Yeah, you making some good points off that. Yeah,
but seriously, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I said, the Cardinals are playing as hard as they could possibly play. They're 1-3, but it's not because of their effort.
I will say this: they've completely bought into their coaching staff.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree with that 100%. And it's really fun watching the Cardinals play because they play so hard, and they're which the other teams are going in there thinking it's like a homecoming game.
No,
and it's not.
No,
they got a ball.
Yeah, they're gonna make you work and earn that win. You saw what happened with the Giants. They jumped out to a big lead, tripled 20-point lead or something like that. And then of course they collapsed in the second half. The Giants, but the Giants are a horrible team to see. But they compete. They are horrendous. But they competed against the Giants nicely. They competed. They beat the Cowboys outright. They embarrassed the Cowboys. We thought that they were going to get mud stomped, and they wound up stomping on the Dallas Cowboys.
I know.
But we should have known that because for whatever reason, the Cardinals kind of own the Cowboys
in
recent history. Take a look at the last decade or so. The Cardinals have won the overwhelming majority of those games against the Cowboys.
They ain't them boys against the Cardinals, that's for sure.
No, they're not. And you were talking about fantasy football and how you ride with James Conner. But if you're in fantasy football, your defense is the Cincinnati Bengals. You're in trouble, man.
Oh,
because like we already mentioned, they got a just absolutely abysmal defense, man. And the teams that they've lost to, and this kind of goes into the favor of the Cardinals, are teams that were heavy rushing teams. The three losses that they lost to the Browns, the Ravens, and the Titans. All those guys are very offensive, very run offensive oriented. They have dominant backs and solid backs. They definitely dedicate themselves to playing a good solid run offense.
Yeah, and speaking of Cleveland, that's just horrible what happened to Chubb.
Yeah, I hate that.
I hate that because that's probably career ending. He's probably done.
You think it's career ending?
How old is he?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be.
He's been in the league for a little bit.
He's been in the league for a little bit. He's had a ton of carries, heavy workload. So it could be. It could be.
Well, he's definitely out for the season. We'll see what happens next season with him. But talking about the Arizona Cardinals, I think Joshua Dobbs. I got to give a lot of credit to Joshua Dobbs and the how he's played in replacement to Kyler Murray. Not only has he done a stellar job, but he came in last second. He came in literally within a couple weeks of the season starting, so he didn't have really an off season to work with the Arizona Cardinals office, work with their coach staff. The thing that helps Joshua Dobbs so much is that he's very familiar with this offense because he's familiar with the offensive coordinator.
Yes,
Drew Petzing was his quarterback coach when he was in Cleveland. So they have that familiarity. So I think that's the reason why they went ahead and brought him to the team. Yeah, late, even though albeit that it was late in the preseason. It certainly is panned out because up to this point in 4 games he has yet to throw an interception.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's real impressive. And he's still learning the playbook. But like you said, he's familiar with it. It's not that much of a learning curve that he needs, and that's why he's come in seamlessly from the start. Playing quarterback for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and then Cardinals have been a mild surprising team defensively as well. They're putting a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. I think the biggest, most pleasant surprise has been the edge rusher Dennis Gardeck. He coming into this game. He's got 4 sacks. The Cardinals have 12 sacks so far in the season, and they're putting a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, and putting a lot of pass. Hurries on quarterbacks, on opposing quarterbacks. That's kept them competitive in these games.
I like the fact that the Cardinals have bought into the system, especially at the beginning of the season when Gannon had the video about the bus and all that.
Right.
And it didn't look like it was going to be too.
That was cringe. Yeah, that whole thing was kind of cringe.
It was cringe.
We're looking for killers and all this.
Yes, but you know what? We're not in that locker room or whatever.
No, we're not there on a daily basis.
Right, and they absolutely 100% have bought in, and they're balling, as best as they can with what they have, and it's good to watch.
Well, if you heard DJ Humphries when he said prior to the preseason starting is that it was a different atmosphere, completely different, completely new, and they've totally bought into that. For whatever reason. Maybe their communications, maybe they're a little bit more straightforward with their team than the previous administration, the previous staff under Cliff Kingsbury. But they get their philosophy, they get their vision, they get the mission. They're all in. They've completely, totally bought in. You see it out there on the football field. And Kyler Murray, I'm hearing good things about Kyler Murray as he's trying to rehab. He's on PUP, physically unable to perform.
Right.
And it's questionable whether or not he's going to return this season or not. Initially it was going to be about 4 or 5 week hiatus to start the season, and then they see if try to insert him back into the offense, put him back on the field. But now it's turning out that he's probably going to not show up or not probably be able to perform or put back on the field probably until like November maybe, or maybe December if they decide to put him out there at all. I think they should.
Yeah.
They need to see what they have with him,
whether
or not he works with their system.
And he's an athlete. He's a competitor. He wants to be out there.
Right.
Absolutely. We know that. When you're an athlete and you're on a team, and you see your teammates battling and all that, you want to be out there with them.
Right.
So I know everybody clowns and jokes about Kyle or whatever, but I know that deep in his heart, he wants to be out there with his teammates.
No, he has a passion and a love for football. I think you see it out there, especially when they're having success. Now, his biggest issue up to this point is that when the team struggles, it kind of weighs on him, and he kind of like shows his feelings on his sleeves, his emotions on his sleeves. And I think that a lot of times he's easily discouraged. He gets down a lot. But he needs to. I think that he's certainly embraced this team's philosophy, this new coaching staff's philosophy, and I think that if he can get back out there on the football field and perform with this team, and if he can go ahead and have success, early on with this team. Maybe they can go ahead and win some games late in the season with him in the lineup. I think that'll help his confidence. And I think that might be enough to persuade them to go ahead and to keep him and maybe move forward with him as a franchise quarterback.
Do you know if Kingsbury has a job yet?
Cliff? I don't know personally. I think he took a season off. I think he's taking time off.
He should. He should be calling offensive plays for video games. That's what he should be doing.
He's good as a coordinator. He's all right as a offensive coordinator or as a quarterback coach. No. He's okay.
My man had Pat Mahomes for 3 years and did not finish 500.
He cannot coach. He cannot be a head coach. He's a horrible head coach. He's mediocre at best in college. But as a coordinator, I think he's okay. As a head coach, because remember, he was a head coach when he was there at with Texas Tech. He had some decent seasons, but for the most part, he was mediocre. But as an NFL coach, he just doesn't figure it out. He couldn't figure it out. Couldn't put it together consistently enough. All right, coming up next, we're going to get into the NBA. We're going to talk some NBA Media Day and rehash the blockbuster trade that sent DeAndre Ayton to the Trailblazers and landed Nurkic to the Suns, as well as a Dame time to the Buckets. You're tuned in to the Crossover KDUS 1060. Don't go anywhere. We are here at OTG Sports Bar and Grill, 801 South Power Road, just north of Southern Avenue on Power Road, Mesa. Come check it out. Biketoberfest.